away from the reception. Got Wi-Fi where I'm at, so I think that could have played a role in why everything just disconnected. Oh man, family, what's going on? Talk to me, fam. What's going on? I'm gonna wait till a few of y'all get in. What's going on? What's going on? How you doing? It's good now? Okay, good, good. Chill out. What's up? What's up? What's up, fam? You're welcome. You're welcome. David, what's up? What's up, y'all? What's going on? I'm wait till a few of y'all come back because I knew it probably messed up. What's going on? King Stone, what's up? What's up, fam? How you doing? All right, give it like 1 more minute, y'all. 1 more minute. Give it like to at least 2 minutes. What's going on, fam? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? What's going on? What's been new? What's been new? What's going on? What's going on? All right, 20 more seconds. 20 more seconds. 20 more seconds, y'all. 20 more seconds. Trying to get that EIN number up and running. It's gonna start. So the EIN process. Let me speak. Let me speak. Let me speak. So the EIN process. The main thing you got to do is you got to make sure you add a lot of accounts to it. And the reason why a lot of people ain't getting the results that they want, you have to put money into it. It takes time, either time or money. Those are two things you're gonna get out the EIN process. You either gotta have the patience and you gotta have the you get what I'm saying? You gotta have the patience to do it. Because if you don't got the patience, it's gonna eat you alive. You gotta have the patience, especially if you ain't putting 10,000 into it, especially if you really ain't running it up on the EIN and really setting your profile out the way you need to. That's what's really gonna hurt you back. I mean, send you back a little bit. Okay. All right, fam. So I know y'all know the title, right? And so I want to talk about it because this is a serious, serious topic, right? So I'm going to China, me and the fam, we going to China and we about to make it happen again. So I know before I had went to Hong Kong, but I'm not going to Hong Kong this time. I'm going to Shenzhen, China. And the, and the reason why I'm going to Shenzhen, China, this is the biggest technology, how I want to say it, this is the largest technology city in the world. This is where you get your all of your iPhone components and parts. This is where you get all electronic parts. This is where you get anything that's dealing with electronics, whether it be printers, ink cartridges, uh, iPhone housing, iPhone LCDs. And the reason why I want to go out here because I want to meet a lot of vendors. I want to take down a lot of information. I want to get a lot of vendors' phone numbers because it's so much. It's so much. Um, it's so much that people can be benefiting from it. And I know that a lot of people who do go to like sites that's dealing like with Chinese people and all that stuff, they go through global sources or you go through Alibaba. But the unfortunate thing is a lot of people don't know the difference between wholesale prices and manufacturing prices. In the difference between wholesale prices, you might get, let's just say you got $1, right? Let's just say to get this dollar, it might cost you 50 cent, right? So a wholesale price you might see a dollar, right? You might can get a dollar, but you paying 50 cent for it. Manufacturing price, you probably see a dollar and you only pay 10 cent for it. What people see when y'all look at Alibaba, these are wholesale vendors, right? And the reason why I say they wholesale vendors is because you got third parties out there who purchase the products directly from a manufacturer. So I used to purchase these machines called Magic Card ink printers, right? And these Magic Card ink printers, they would my manufacturer, who I thought it was the manufacturer, is actually getting the project products from someone else. So they will show themselves as a manufacturer. They'll talk like a manufacturer, but they won't be the manufacturer. And that's what a lot of people get confused because when they go on Alibaba, they think they're getting the best price, but you really not. You have to actually go to China yourself. You have to sit down yourself with these people. You have to sit down yourself with the manufacturer. And that's gonna let you know that you can make a lot of money out there, but you have to be networking with the right people. So when I see people selling vendor lists and everything like that, most people are selling wholesalers. They're not really selling the manufacturer. Now, me personally, when it comes to certain things, I got information on a manufacturer, right? I know a manufacturer right now who I'm about to say who sell hair products. But most people in my line of work, they really don't deal with, hair products or anything like that. Most people want like the iPhones, they want the fully assembled iPhones. And I say going to a wholesaler is not really gonna get you the best price. You need to go to a manufacturer because a manufacturer, you're gonna get them real prices. When I say manufacturer, you could see them manufacturing all the products. You could see their assembly line. You could see the parts when they're stripped down to the smallest component. Like you talking about them creating the housing, them creating the not the motherboards, but they creating the components that go to the iPhone because the motherboards you have to go through Foxconn. Foxconn is who manufacture Apple products. If y'all ain't never heard of Foxconn, y'all heard about them today. So Foxconn is what that's how Apple get their phones manufactured. And Apple pay $5 every single phone that get manufactured. In total. So every year, Apple paid Foxconn workers $5 every iPhone. Jordan and Nike to get a Jordan manufactured is $20. Each Jordan to get manufactured is $20. And they take it to America and they sell it for 200. You get what I'm saying? So it's a big industry out there, especially when you're looking at those countries. And you don't even got to go to China. Like it's other manufacturing countries too. You got India, that's a good manufacturing country. You got Israel, that's a good country. You got Japan. Well, you got some more. You got I won't throw Germany in there, but I would throw Indonesia in there. Indonesia is a real country too, who you can buy, wholesale goods from from a manufacturer. That's a good country too, Indonesia, especially when y'all go like to countries like Bali, or even if you go to the main part, you can get you a lot of stuff out there too. Ethiopia, Egypt. Now, you're not going to get the consumer electronics in Egypt. Really, in Asian countries is where you're going to get the most electronics, like India, Pakistan, Istanbul, oh, China, Taiwan. That's a good place. You get what I'm saying? You got to go to Asia if you want the best electronics. The best way to communicate with them, you can either search them up, you can look at their website, you can because what you do is this is what you do. You can meet a supplier on Alibaba, right? And they might got a list of prices and everything. You might say, hey, can I come down to your warehouse? If they say no, then you know they're not real. Most manufacturers want Americans to come to their warehouse to see what they're working with, just so they can have a permanent client. So you'll go to their warehouse, they'll show you around, and some of them will even pick you up from the airport. If they know that you're serious and you're not playing games, they'll pick you up from the airport. And some of them let you sleep in their house. That's how bad they want it. Like that's how bad they want it. Because one of my suppliers, they asked me and my wife, they said, "Do y'all want to spend the night over?" Her name was Lemon, and they was good people though. So but they was what she was at? Queen Dio. So Queen Dio is another part of China. It's outside of Shenzhen. It's another city outside of China, and they sell hair products. Because you remember, you got different cities that sell different things. You got Queen Dio, you got Shenzhen, you got Hong Kong, you got um it's all even Singapore. You got them. You got every part that you can go around and you can see who has the best. Yo, what's going on, fam? Peace and love, peace and love. Do I mess around with AI? AI is good, yeah, to some extent, yeah. Okay. I'm having trouble with this. Okay, but yeah, yeah, family. So that's gonna be the next move right there. That's the next move. I gotta go to China. I gotta see what the atmosphere is. I never been to China. I ain't been to China in no, it's been 3 years. It's been no, no, haven't no, no, it's been two. It's been 2 years since I went to China. Last time I went to China was in January of 2023. This will be the next time. But this time I'm going to Shenzhen. I'm not going to Hong Kong. I'm going to Shenzhen, China. I'm not going to Hong Kong. I'm going straight to Shenzhen, and I'm gonna make sure that once I get there, I'm gonna be able to, you know, uh, get all the vendors name, even vendors that I don't even have no intentions on being with. I want to go through vendors, and I'm not going just to the mall in Shenzhen. I'm going into the manufacturers, I mean the manufacturing facilities, and I'm talking to these manufacturers, and I'm gonna make sure I get the information just so if I ever decide to have a vendor sellers list, I will be able to sell all my vendors, but I will be able to sell them the right way. I'm not gonna sell my vendor like just a whole package deal. I want you to know what my vendor has to offer. I'm gonna show you exactly what they sell. I'm gonna give you guys a breakdown, and it's not just for you guys because I know that I deal with many different industries, right? So when people see me on YouTube, a lot of you guys associate me with the sovereign movement. A lot of people associate me with this consultations and everything like that, right? So let me explain something, right? I want to divide some things up, right? And I want to clear some things up. When it comes to sovereignty, right? Because a lot of people get me confused. So let me explain something, right? When it comes to right to travel, I am not a proponent of the right to travel, meaning that is not a stance that I really care so much about. I had a greater stance with bearing arms. I didn't have a greater stance with right to travel. I care less about the right to travel. So even if a person had a license, I truly didn't care about it. I only care about protecting my ability to have the right to keep and bear arms. That's the main thing that I was using. That's the main way how I was coming in. The right to travel so happened to come in because when I was explaining to you guys about it was something very particular. And I don't want to get off subject, but I got to talk about this for a minute. So when I first came into sovereignty, my whole aspect was I want to bear arms. I want to learn how to bear arms. I want to, understand how can I get my rights back as far as me bearing arms. Now, the right to travel came in because you have a lot of people on YouTube, they teaching the right to travel, like, oh, no driver's license, no registration, no insurance. I never cared about it, but as far as what I would do, as far as me learning throughout the process, I was exercising my right to travel. Do I care about it? No. Do I continue to do it? Of course, I still right to travel. I still travel, everything like that, right? But that wasn't my stance. That wasn't my main stand. My main stance was bearing arms. So a lot of people mix me in with a lot of different processes. Some person called me today. He said, "Hey, do you do secure party processes?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He say, "Accessing the birth certificate, accessing your bonds." I said, "Who taught you that?" They say, "Paths to Freedom." And I say, "What?" I said, "If they taught you this, what what made you guys come to me?" You get what I'm saying? So a lot of people call me and bring up these random processes, and I never even mention these processes. Like it's never been a laugh that I say I'm a secure party creditor. I'm gonna get you free money. I'm gonna access the treasury. I never made a video about that, not one time. But they associate me with that, and then that ruined everything on the business side because now my algorithm on YouTube is solely with the sovereignty. It's not just business only. It has to be with the sovereignty. So most of the traffic that I bring in, it's a lot of sovereign students because the sovereignty avenue gets so much coming in, but they're not even looking at the totality of it. A lot of people just looking at it like, oh, I want to be free from American society. One person called me and said, hey, how can I be free? And I say, what do you mean? What do you mean? And they say, I want to be free from the system. I said, if you really truly want to be free from the system, why not live off grid? They said, no, I just want to. access my bond. Cause so one minute they want to be out the system, the next minute they want to access a bond. Which one you want to do? Because the accessing the bond is not in the private, it's in the public. Because you want to utilize the Social Security numbers for benefits, right? Which I know you're not going to get any money from it. I know just for the sake of the conversation, I'm just using that point as an example to see. I mean, to explain like people come up with these weird thoughts, and so that's one aspect of it. So one time a person asked me about those processes. Then the next moment, another person asked me, um, okay, I want a right to travel. Do we have the right to travel? I tell everybody this: we are in a political movement now. What does that mean? That means even though it's illegal, we understand that it's right. And when you dealing with fighting for your rights, or you dealing with exercising your rights, everybody have their own niche in what they trying to bring out, something that they trying to fight for. I'm bringing out the right to bear arms. I don't care about the right to travel. I don't care about a person having a driver's license. I don't care about a person having an ID. That never was my thing. I never brought that out. I never cared about it because that's not the biggest thing to me. When the U.S. Marshals come to your door, it's not about whether you have a driver's license or not. It's about, do you have the means to protect yourself. When the government overturned on the American people, we want to know if y'all armed and able to protect yourself. That's what I'm talking about. So right now, I live in a republic state. I live in a republic. I don't live in a democratic state, so I don't really have to worry about most of the aspects of bearing arms. I don't really don't have to worry about that. But in a democratic state, you do. It seems like you do. In the democratic state, the government seems to have more guns than the citizens, and that's one of my biggest things. Because remember, we the only country in the world that out armed the government, and we also one of the main countries in the world that the government have the most high level security, and they also spying on the American people. Did we forget that the reason why Trump is trying to abolish the ATF is because you got to understand that the federal government is trying to that they executed so many mandates, and they executed so many restrictions on gun regulations. So when people see me on YouTube, they say this is a man who's think he's above the law. You got to understand, the same people that y'all see get put in office, they are against these firearm bans. So when I exercise a firearm, I'm a sovereign citizen. But when they exercise a firearm, right? It's a part of the legal process. You get what I'm saying? So me exercising my right to keep and bear arms, it's a political move. The same way when you right to travel, it's a political move. Now, the only thing about the right to travel, and I'm gonna be honest, the only thing, you gotta find exactly why you stand for the right to travel, and you also gotta show a case law that protects your right to travel, and you gotta show the need for the right to travel amongst the people. Because remember, if the people don't accept it on a social basis, it pretty much mess up your position. Me, I never stood so tall for the right to travel. I stood tall for the right to keep and bear arms. Most people would agree with me. I don't care where you go, any state, everybody agree with the right to keep and bear arms. I don't care what state you go to. The reason why I attack and target Democratic state is because Democratic states are one of the states that try to ban firearms, even though Democratic states are one of the main cities with the most gun violence, like Chicago, like Detroit, Michigan. Michigan is a republic state, but Detroit itself, that metropolitan area, is a Democratic city. So, and that city right there is a Democratic city. So you got cities like New York City, high gun crime, I mean, high gun rate. California, Los Angeles, high gun rate. You got another city like Cincinnati, Ohio. They like some of them areas are blue cities, but they in red states. But those particular cities are blue cities, and most blue cities have a gun high violence rate, just like the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia is red, but Atlanta is a blue city in metropolitan Atlanta. But guess what? The gun violence is all high in Georgia. You get what I'm saying? So those are things we're not even looking at or even taking in consideration of. So that's not so when it comes to bearing arms, that's my position. Right to travel. I don't care too much about it, but I do exercise my right to travel whenever I can. Do I care too much about it? No, but I do care about the right to keep and bear arms. Now we go to the next subject, this free bond stuff. Um, whoever on YouTube is telling y'all, once again, I mentioned this before, but I actually get kind of irritated because everybody keep coming to me and asking me the same thing. How do I like what do I think about getting free money from these bonds? And I'm like, who is telling y'all this? Oh man, you watch this video. I'm like, you watching videos, but you watching videos, but do you think the person who is teaching y'all this is getting money from a bond that he got from his social security number? The person who charging y'all $700 to access a bond, do you think they are the ones that's benefited from it? No. And you can bring any one of them guys who teaching that stuff on here, and they couldn't show not an ounce of paperwork and an ounce of proof that they did. They'll show you proof of them filing something. They'll show you proof of them researching it or trying to obtain it, but they can't show you tangible proof as far as a transaction being made and them financially benefiting from it. And that's my position. And remember, the truth is the truth and the lie is a lie. But I just don't like when people mix it all up. So yes, the sovereign stuff has messed up my entire algorithm in as far as like the traffic flow. So now, I teach credit. So here go another aspects of credit. So when I bring in the EIN process in with credit, it kind of confused a lot of people because now when I was teaching credit, everybody said, "Hey, do you got to change the status to fix credit?" I said, "Are you fucking serious?" I'm like, damn. I don't insult nobody. I don't try to attack nobody's intelligence. But I said in my mind, I'm like, are you serious? They said, is it illegal to build credit? I promise you. A person asked me, is it illegal to build credit? Is it illegal to build credit? And I couldn't believe it. And I told them, like, I ain't gonna lie, you deserve to be a slave. It's not even that. It's really the mindset that most people have. You got to understand that people have been in mental chains for a long time. Mental chains, not physical, but mental chains, and they don't even understand that the system that's right in front of them. Just like a person to argue against me with a person's freedom and liberty. Some people will say, "Oh man, whatever the government says goes." No, it's not whatever the government says. You got to understand if you don't fight for your rights, the more the government will encroach on your rights. Did y'all forget that? Do y'all know that a lot of laws that's being passed usually is when the social agitation don't attack those political changes? So that's just like felon being in possession of a firearm. After 60 years since Lyndon B. Johnson signed the federal gun regulation that prohibits people from being a felon in possession of a firearm, when he signed that bill in 1968, do you realize, right? That was almost 60 years ago. Do you honestly realize that it took all the way until January of 2022 for the felon possession of a firearm to be reviewed again by the federal courts and the state courts, and a lot of federal courts and state courts start conflicting against each other rulings. Like all the courts in California disagreed. They believe felons shouldn't have the right to bear arms. But the highest court, as far as the federal district court of appeals, they agreed. And they having these small conflictions amongst each other. It just show you how discombobulated this nation is. It show you how twisted the government is. It really show you that the nation itself don't even agree with each other. And so the fact that we keep going into this propaganda of the government constantly enforcing these rules and regulations is messing us up. The same way with ATF. Why do you think they got an ATF? Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. They are in place to regulate firearms. So when y'all look at it like this, a person having a firearm, right? That's a federal weapon. You no longer have an individual arm. You have a firearm because that serial number is what creates the how I want to say the commercial aspect of it. That's what gives Congress the authority over firearms. That's what gives ATF the authority over firearms. And so when we look at Trump, a lot of people, man, all hell breaking loose. You don't understand the conservative perspective. We had way more government right? We had way more government without him being in office. And when you're looking at the political position of America, you got to understand how fucked up everything getting, right? We went to a conservative society to a more liberal. And people say, oh, liberal mean more freedom. No, what they do is, right? Liberal gonna mean more government, more regulations and also messed up politicians and government officials. We're gonna have some bogus ass government officials. Well, a child can do this and a child can do that, and the government can do this and the government can do that, and we don't even understand the propaganda that's being played. And so when people see us on TV exercising the right to keep and bear arms, they're not looking at it like a social movement or a political movement. A lot of people just say this sovereign citizen, and you gotta understand who created that aspect of sovereign citizen. It was the FBI. And the reason why the government created the argument to say sovereign citizens is a anti-government movement is because they knew that the people who was on TV talking about sovereign citizens, that these are the conservative people that's trying to take back the Constitution. You got to understand, for many years the Constitution had been swept under the rug because guess what? You have the you have laws that was passed by Congress on the commercial side when we dealing with the federal courts. We got federal law, we got federal codes. They was constantly implementing law, and laws and laws and laws, laws and laws and laws into the system. And so while us constantly following these regulations, the more tighter they make the regulations, the more we can remove for the Constitution. They smart enough to create a system where they can convince American people that firearms have to be regulated. Do you know who created that? The liberals. I'm gonna tell you this, right? They say this, oh, we need to keep more guns off the street. Now you need more guns on the street because in these democratic states, the main people with guns are the main people who will get it with or without the law being placed, and that's criminals. So whether you say felons can't carry a gun, a felon who out there doing wrong will carry a gun regardless. Or if you say this and that, tight stipulations don't necessarily make it easy on the government. Like look at Chicago, Illinois. We got some of the strictest gun laws in the world. But guess what? Does that stop anybody? No. Look at Texas. We got some of the loosest gun laws in the world. Ain't that much happened in Texas compared to Chicago. And if we want to do a comparisons, Texas don't even like my city. I live outside of Houston. Houston itself don't compare to the amount of crime in Chicago. Like if Chicago had, if Texas had the stuff we had in Chicago, because I'm from Chicago originally, if we had like let's just say rappers like the Lil Durks and the Kings one, they would have been on death row. All of them would have been on death row if they was in Texas. Talking about 9, 10 bodies, 20 bodies. They would have been on death row in Texas because when you're dealing with real conservative states who not playing, you talking about Chicago is at an all-time high violence. It's not like small little areas. You talking about two, three, 400,000 gang members that are running the streets of Chicago right now. And you talking about we got the tightest gun laws in the world and some of the most mass incarceration. And we got some of the most liberal governments in the world. You get what I'm saying? So it's crazy how people just come at us on TV and people come at us and say we sovereign citizen, we anti-government. If anything, the people that y'all call sovereign citizens are the most governed people. They are the most law-abiding people. They are the most fundamental constitutionalist people in this world. Because if you really look at it, right? If you truly look at it, every time you see a sovereign citizen, a quote unquote sovereign citizen go to court, what the first thing they mention? The Constitution. How is he a sovereign citizen? The Constitution is written by the founding fathers who created the founding document. They ain't the first people, but the founding fathers who created the founding documents here to establish the nations here in the United States. So how is it that we mention the Constitution, we consider a sovereign citizen? Because remember, if we was a sovereign citizen, why I'm not bringing the Taiwan Constitution in there? Why am I not bringing a Chinese Constitution in there? Why am I not bringing a French Constitution in there? I'm bringing a United States of America Constitution. The reason why? Let's deal with the supremacy clause. The supremacy clause is what separates the federal United States and the conservative United States. That's what separates us. And when you're dealing with this, and when you're dealing with the supremacy clause, most federal statutes and federal laws always conflict with the Constitution. The main problem is that I believe not only do we have a lot of federal laws and a lot of federal statutes that's being passed in America that might be deemed as unconstitutional, you also have the Supreme Court, who are most likely liberals. Most of them are most likely liberals and not conservatives. and and them co-signing the laws just so they can necessarily fit the position of the liberal system that it is. So when people look at like let's look at the liberals and let's see how they operate. They trying to adjust to commerce. So let's just say this. The reason why we don't have the right to travel, the reason why the Supreme Court never ruled on the right to travel, even though it says that, a lot of people argue, where it's way more roads, I mean, way more cars on the roads. The roads is getting funded by the government. That's why the people don't have the right to travel. But guess what? When have commerce ever overexerted itself over your constitutional rights? Yes, the roads are regulated. Yes, people pay for tickets and all this, but how is it that your constitutional right has to be put to the side due to the fact that they are regulating commerce? So, and remember, the Supreme Court is only adjusting to the commerce. And so that's what makes them liberal, because they thinking about the commerce side. How could this affect federal commerce? How could this affect federal interstate commerce? Because remember, if they was to say all felons can can bear arms, it affects commerce in their eyes. Because remember, now 22G is a federal statute, right? And it affects interstate commerce. You get what I'm saying? So your fundamental right has been converted into affecting commerce. And so everybody get confused. So when Trump come in office, abolish the ATF, abolish the IRS. These are all the same people who is setting up the government, right? And they bring it and they encroaching on your rights, and all the people overlook it. And so the same people that y'all see who make videos about nationals and they say these are sovereign citizens, but the people who claim to be sovereign citizens say I'm a natural born American. Remember, all of the founding fathers, if you want to look at everybody, they say I'm American. They never say I'm a US citizen. You got to understand, when the United States came about, when they established itself as a federal corporation, it became a division in this country ever since. Because the originality of America sets on the principles of the foundation of the Constitution. But since the federal United States took precedence over the real organic United States, you got the liberal side, you got the conservative side. But now, since we got the republic, when we got the conservative side taking over, now it put the country in the lockhold, because all of the same people that came after us, like the IRS and everything like that, they are now being looked at and and reviewed, and now it's subject to get abolished. Because remember, we've been in the closet for 20 years. We've been in the closet for 30 years. And now we finally got the Senate. You finally got members of Congress that now are conservative. Because if you take this country back to a conservative, the liberals don't stand no chance. You don't stand no chance. All of your rights is gone. And so when I watch them videos, let me go back. When I watch them videos of people who try to expose people and say they sovereign citizens, those are nothing but liberals who are pushing an agenda for the general public. So if they had to decide on the principles of our Constitution, they want them to further away from it. You get what I'm saying? So we gotta look at it like that. These are liberals. These are liberals. These are liberals. And so it gets to a point where you gotta identify the people exactly who they are. Because most people that I see try to expose people who are national don't even show their face on TV. Because remember, I can walk in public, me, and I can go around anybody and my face is public. Most of the people that try to expose national don't even show their face on camera. They don't even show their face. You ever seen? I'm gonna show. It was a guy named Van Bulan, right? I mean, how do I say his name? Van Balian. That's his name. Van Balian. He's a YouTuber. He exposed sovereign citizens, right? The man never show his face. Remember, you can't show your face. You cannot walk downtown and say, I'm Van Balian, and be like a man standing tall. You can't, because when you understand this, you got to understand we walk with the truth, because the truth can't be hidden. And then people will look at it like this. This is what people don't understand about political movements. Look at the rise of the Moors, right? They say they got arrested. They'll look at people on the side of the road. He got arrested. Yeah, look at this. Do you understand? If you look at historically, anytime that when you're dealing with social agitation, you have to understand that if you don't break the law, you don't change it. Let me repeat that. If you do not break the law, you do not change it. Because one thing you got to understand is the people who getting arrested. This is a part of the social agitation. So it don't matter how many times a person get arrested for the right to travel. It don't matter how many times a person get arrested for bearing arms. They took the first political step that is necessary. And yes, they are a casualty of war, but when you're dealing with a political war, everybody had to take the fall. Even the same person that say Trump, who took the fall by the liberals, he had to take the fall because even though you took the fall, does that necessarily mean the war's over? No, whoever's in power at that time took control. You get what I'm saying? Whoever's in power at that time take control. So yes, they can put you out to the world and say, if you do this in my city, yes, you will go to jail. But to the average person, that's strike fear in them. But to us, the real people who fight for freedom, I'd rather be in jail and free than being locked up mentally. When you understand a free man will fight for his freedom until the death. I don't care about money. I don't care about going to jail for freedom. You get what I'm saying? Especially if it's righteously done. So if a person say, "Hey, he went to jail for a gun," I don't care. I would go to jail again for a gun. I would go to jail again and again and again for a gun because I stand on the principles of the Second Amendment. And when we understand this, it gets to a point where people got to understand fighting for freedom ain't free. I don't know what y'all got this notion from to say fighting for freedom is free. Who the hell told y'all that? Who told y'all you can go out here and do what you want and there's no consequences? You got to understand who's in charge. Liberals in charge. But guess what? We have to fight for it. So guess what? We the underdogs. They the big dogs. We have to fight them. Yes, we're gonna go to jail. Yes, we're gonna lose. Yes, we're gonna go to prison. Yes, but guess what? You just a casualty of the war in the transition of what's gonna happen. And now guess what? 10 years later, right? ATF abolished. Um, NAD 22G get abolished. IRS get abolished. Guess what they're gonna say then? Oh man, oh I hate these people. And we gonna be at the top. Right to travel gonna be all recognized across all 50 states. Right to bear arms for a felon, every felon gonna have the right to bear arms after they complete their sentence. Because remember, prior to Lyndon B. Johnson signing the executive order for the lifetime bans of convicted felon, there was never such thing as a lifetime ban for convicted felons. The convicted felon lifetime ban came about 1968, but prior to 1968, every felon was prohibited from carrying a firearm within the within the time frame of his sentence. So if you were sentenced to 2 years in prison, but you also had an additional 1 year to do on parole. During that duration of parole, you can't carry a firearm, which I agree, because you still technically incarcerated. Once you receive a discharge from your sentence and you choose to bear arms, now it's good. You get what I'm saying? So that's the argument. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, now you can be discharged from that obligation because you no longer pose a threat to the community. Neither did you have any legal constraints that would prohibit you from necessarily bearing arms. So like I say, you got to understand one thing. A real man and a real man who stand on his principles ain't scared to go no jail. Jail? Jail, that's it. You scared of jail? You want to be free, but you scared of jail. You a damn slave. If you scared of jail and you want to be free, you are a slave. I'm not scared of jail. I would love to go to jail for my freedom. You want me to tell you what happened when I got arrested for that gun that night? I slept like a baby when I went into that cell. Because this is what I live by. When you truly live by something, regardless of the consequences, it don't matter about what happens at the end. I know it's right at heart. If it was wrong, you want me to tell you why I'd be scared if it was wrong? If I was selling drugs and selling, what's that drug that's going around? Fentanyl. If I was walking around selling fentanyl and people was ODing off my drugs and I was bringing it across the country and people was dying and I'm making profit off people's death, I would know it's wrong in my heart. And so I would hate prison. Every single day it will feel agony to me. It will hurt my heart. I'd be in pain. I wouldn't be able to do it. But when you fighting for your freedom, it's a little different. It don't feel painful. When I went into that cell, I didn't feel in pain. I wasn't, ooh, I was rejoiced because I'm like, thank you. I'm fighting for freedom. I'm standing on principles for freedom. And when I went into jail and I was telling people about bearing arms and exercising your rights, he said, "You're the only person I ever met that made sense." He said, "Wow." He said, "I never thought of it like that." And I was trying to explain to him about bearing arms and what's really going on, and he couldn't believe it. I don't care about going to jail for freedom. You take time. Yes, it looked funny on the videos right now. Like when you see somebody drive with no license and all that, say I'm bearing arms, I got the right to travel. Yeah, it looks funny right now, but what happened at the end? What happens? Listen, what I'm saying. A coward, it's comfortable being a coward. You want me to tell you why? Because you never had to fight in life. That's why those men get chosen last. That's why the men like me, you will get choose first in life. You'll get choose by a woman first. You'll be choose to be a leader first. You'll be choose to get rich first because you took the necessary steps of sacrifice. Most people are not taking the necessary steps to sacrifice today, and that's why they get picked last. That's why a lot of people don't understand their powers. A lot of people don't understand what position they in. A lot of people don't understand what they need to be in life. We don't get no damn about the consequences. The consequences mean nothing when you're fighting for victory. The consequences don't mean nothing when you fight for victory. He said, "I'll go to jail for running off for 50 million in credit." You funny, but like I said, the consequences mean nothing when you fight for freedom. If you're doing it for a good reason. If you're doing it for a bad reason, it's going to hurt. If you're not doing it for a righteous reason, if you can't go in court in front of that jury and stand like an ox, like I did, and told them where in the Constitution where it says we need a license to keep and bear arms and get found not guilty. If you ain't strong enough like an ox and you can go in there, you're not ready for freedom. I'm ready for freedom. And it don't matter about the consequences. It don't matter what happened at the end of the day. And guess what? Somebody might say, oh, because it didn't work, that mean it's wrong. That's not true. That's not true at all. Just because it didn't work at that time in history, that don't necessarily take it away from everything else. Because in every war, you got casualties. You even got a war where a person lost for so many years, and you would think that there was no way of redemption. You would think that there's no way for that person to get back on top. You would think that there's no way for that person to excel. And at the end of the story, the person who was at the bottom got to the top. And you'd be like, damn, no, no, how did this just happen? Like we just had him down, our foot was on his neck, he was handcuffed, and he still got back up. He's a warrior. When you're dealing with war, like this is what you stand on. This is what you stand on. I'm gonna tell you this. About three of my motions got denied in court, right? Now, I was telling you guys about exhausting our remedies, right? Guess what the prosecution would try to do, right? So when I went to court, he had asked me, he said, "Hey, um, let me explain. Let's go over this. So you're facing this much time. If you do this, you do that, right?" And he basically said, like, he told me the time I was facing. And not only did he tell me the time I was facing, he said, "Look, I could talk to the other prosecutor. I can get this dropped down." And he was basically was like, "Okay, what do you think about it?" I said, "We going to trial." He said, "Damn, damn, damn, no emotion, no emotion, no emotion. Let's go to trial. Let's go to trial." And I represent myself. People ask this: why is it important to represent yourself? I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Let me explain this to you. You got this thing in the Constitution called if you ain't never search it up today. Jury nullification. Jury nullification is if a jury acquits someone who can be evidence wise can be found guilty, but morally speaking, they believe that that person shouldn't be in jail. That means the person was nullified by the jury. Now, nullification can happen anytime throughout a jury process. If the jury just don't want to convict you, they don't have to. My last jury, I went through jury nullification. Jury nullification, they don't have to tell you. They just believe you shouldn't go to jail. So they just write not guilty, right? That's what it means, nullification. Um, the reason why it's important to represent yourself in any criminal proceeding is because the people who are judging you at that moment, they are actually seeing the man instead of the representation of the man, which will be the attorney. The attorney who is representing you is only representing you. That is not you. They don't get a fundamental feel of who you really are. So if you just standing there quiet and they just arguing evidence, they don't know if you're a good person. They don't know if your mindset is correct. They don't know if you're innocent. So when you find a lot of people who get found guilty through attorneys and prosecutors, is because the attorney can only represent the evidence. They can't represent your best interest because you're not representing yourself. And the reason why you're not representing yourself because you're ashamed or uneducated about the circumstances. So a person who's ashamed, he would pretty much, a person who's ashamed know he done wrong, feels he done wrong, acts if he done wrong, and know in his true heart that he needs to be represented. Me, I know I ain't do wrong. Me, I don't feel like I did wrong. Me, I know I ain't do wrong. So when they actually get the feel of the man and know the political position, you can stand on all tens. And remember, the prosecution by them only can argue evidence. You can argue any other loopholes and arguments that's not even necessarily solely to the evidence that's being presented in court. So when I went to court, as being a national, remember, I don't have to follow the criminal procedures at trial. So if they was presenting, let's just say DNA, right? I ain't arguing DNA. I'm arguing this. If they was arguing testimony, I'm not arguing testimony. I'm arguing this. They arguing this. I'm arguing that. Right. So what happened is you not a member of the bar association. So everything that you argue can't be accounted. You can't be accounted for. Your attorney can because they are a member of the bar association. They can declare for a mistrial. But by you representing yourself, because you got Ferretta versus California, your constitutional right to keep to represent yourself, that is what protects you. So you can cross-examine witnesses. Not only can you cross-examine witnesses, you can not only can you cross-examine witnesses, but you also can bring up other arguments outside, like why you was pulled over, for what reason, or it's so much you can add to an argument at trial, and that's what give it its benefit. You get what I'm saying? So, um, for me personally, what I would say is the judge ain't the end all be all. In my last case in Orlando, every motion got denied and I got acquitted. It's not about what the judge said. You got to understand the judge with the system. I'm with the people. It's a different story. I'm with the people. It's a different story than being for the people versus the system. I'm for the people first. So I don't care about the judge. The last judge about to cook my ass like fried beans at a Mexican restaurant if I would've got found guilty. But um, but to be honest though, and so to be honest, the judge is giving me she ain't giving me, I'm requesting to challenge jurisdiction by the court. She granted me to actually represent my position, and I will be challenging jurisdiction. Now, under which basis? I brought up two constitutional issues. One would be international shoe, Washington versus international shoe, which would be that the court lacks personal jurisdiction over the defendant. And my second argument would be what's the next one? Subject matter jurisdiction. That the court doesn't have the legal basis of hearing this particular case. You get what I'm saying? So, man, this is gonna be fun. I feel you. Fire in your talk every time it's on in you. It's not on you. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, fam. Appreciate it, fam. But like I said, if you ain't willing to die a slave, you are gonna die a slave. You need to stand up for something in life. Don't matter about the consequences. They'll be like, oh man, what if you go to jail? That's good. That's good. That's good. I went to jail before, didn't I get out? See, it worked like that. You gotta understand. It's freedom fighting for. And freedom take a long time to fight for. Freedom ain't no overnight thing. Even if you escape to another country and claim asylum and form your own government and get declared under the United Nations, you can do that too. You can do. Listen, y'all. I'll go to the feds if I really put anything. I'm really gonna put anything out. I don't care about going to the feds, but I want to put a lot of things out because I want to show you guys right about asylum. For all of my fugitive brothers. I got brothers right now. He in Dubai. He chilling right now. I ain't gonna tell y'all who he is, but I got a brother right now in Dubai. He fleeing the feds right now. I don't know why. I don't know all of his personal information, but I know he out there right now. And I told him that because in Dubai, it's no like they Dubai. Um, I would tell him not only addition, and you need to change your name while you out there in Dubai and all that. You good. You really good. But I ain't gotta leave the country. I ain't leaving unless it's something like crazy. Like it has to be something crazy for me to leave. Like the government frame me for a murder or something like that, and they put fake DNA evidence and everything like that. Then I have to leave. I have to leave. I'm a free flight to Dubai in the morning, man. But no, ain't no stuff like that. I ain't going through no stuff like that. I don't got nothing like that going on. And honestly, if the government was after you, like seriously, like let's just say if you was like they really wanted to frame you, there's nothing you can do unless if you already knew about it. But if you like just a regular person, you ain't gonna know about it. It's just gonna come. You ain't gonna never know when they come. You ain't gonna never know when they about a lot of people. Stuff like frame people get framed for murder. The government make up DNA on you, and I'm not even that powerful for them to do something like that. I don't see them doing nothing like that. But for somebody who really know the truth and they really had a big platform, let's just say if I had like 20 million views and I really knew what was going on and I was involved into a lot of things, it can bring that, it can bring those things. Ooh, hold on, let me see. I'm having trouble. What's good, fam? Hold on. Hold on, let me see. Scott, I finally seen this. Hold on, let me pin this message. He said my neighbor. Oh man, where did this go? Hold on. My neighbor listened to you on your crap on the right to travel. His truck was impounded and he got 90 days in jail. Just got out a few days ago. Congratulations. He took the first steps of becoming a damn man. Congratulations. You did a good job. Tell him go do it again and get 90 more days. That's what freedom look like. That's what freedom look like. Going to jail for what you believe in, dying for what you believe in, killing for what you believe in. Wait, what do you mean? That's a good job. Ain't that good, y'all? That is good. I'm glad he went to jail. I want to go to jail now for my freedom. I will go to jail tomorrow for my freedom. I will go to jail right now. You gotta understand, I am very comfortable with becoming uncomfortable. I would lose everything just to be free. Because I wouldn't feel alive if I was living in bondage. If I was walking around right now, Social Security card, and just my brain was just washed. And I had no power. I didn't know what was going on in the world. I took every vaccination that the government proposed to me. I took every drug, I took every pharmacy drug, I listened to everything the media was telling me. I'll be a damn slave. I'll be a slave. I will not feel free. I want to be, I want to be the people that the government tell us to go against. I want to be what Hitler was in Germany. I want to be what Nat Turner was in the Revolutionary War. I want to be what Genghis Khan was. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to be the good guy. I want to be the bad guy in the movie who going against the bad guy. I want to be the good guy, but I'm going against the bad guys. But the bad guys going to make me look like the bad guy, and they're going to propose themselves as the good guys in front of the brainwashed slaves. So the government is going to show you guys me on TV. He's the bad guy. He's talking. Yo, family, what's going on? Y'all hear me now? Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Y'all hear me, right? Oh, it's kind of cold out here tonight. Y'all hear me? Yo, y'all hear me? Man, it still froze? Y'all can hear me, right? Say yes or no. Can y'all hear me? Ah, okay, okay, I'm good. I'm good. All right, all right. Okay, okay. Rich stacks. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, look, let's talk. Let's talk. But no, that's good. He went to jail for his rights. You stood up for something, at least. Yeah, you stood up for something. Talk that credit sauce. Ah man, I got off topic with it. I'm gonna talk it. Got some videos coming out on it right now. My video coming out. I'm about to just I already recorded it. I just gotta upload it. Um, yeah, we gonna talk that credit, fam. We're gonna talk that credit. I'm gonna talk it real soon. Actually, I'm gonna make another live. What's your fam? I just checked and I appreciate your transparency. We love you dearly, bro. I appreciate that, King. Much love to y'all as well, family. Much love to y'all as well. But yes, back to Scott Keller. You say your neighbor been locked up, man. Tell him to do another 90 days to prove himself to show that he really is a free man. You got to show that you're a real free man. Can't be playing. Everybody playing. You got to stand on your rights. If I go to jail, you ain't gonna never see me screaming. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say, okay, let's go. You ready? Let's go. You ain't gonna hear me rolling on the ground like a tootsie roll. No, I'm gonna say, let's go. Let's go. No arguing, no nothing. Let's go. He said, damn, you really want to go? Yes, let's go. Hurry up. Put the handcuffs on me. Let's go. Wow, let's go. You wasting my time. I'm not gonna say, why are you arresting me? Or the Constitution says this. When it gets to the handcuffs, there's no talking. Just go in. You will find your way out. You will find your way out. Oh, it's a blessing, fam. It's a blessing. But yeah, you will find your way out. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like I say, I'm not a proponent of the right to travel. I really don't deal with it. I do deal with it, but I don't really care too much about it. I don't. I care about bearing arms. I don't care about the right to travel. I don't. I never did. Um, I just did it a couple times. I wanted to do it just to put some more content and put some more information out there. I truly didn't care about the right to travel. I care about the right to bear arms. That's my main thing. That's the main thing I care about. Trust me. If it's nothing else, that's what I care about. That's what I care about. All right, fam. Look, peace and love to y'all. I want y'all to have a blessed night. I know it's getting late. Look, I might go live. I'm gonna try to see if I can. If I can't, y'all probably gonna know that I'm probably tied up or something like that. But peace and love to y'all. I'm glad I gave y'all an hour of my time. I want you guys to strive. I want you guys to build. And I know I've been talking about the China thing, but I'm going to China, and trust me, I'm doing another live in China. So once I actually touch feet in China, then I'm gonna let you guys, I'm gonna build with you guys on the financial tip. That's when we're gonna talk about credit. We really gonna talk about credit when we get to China. But enjoy y'all night. And for for all my freedom fighters, keep fighting. The fight not over. Fight is not over. All right. Peace and love, y'all. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed night.